The next question is from the S&D, Mr. Alfred Sant.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. 2 questions, please. My first question relates to financial services, which have been one of the rapidly expanding sectors of EU economic activity. They have also served to boost the economies of peripheral member states. Yet they have been tainted in recent years by the LuxLeaks and Panama Papers scandals, among others. Indeed, one hears about them mostly in the context of controversies about money laundering, tax evasion, and aggressive tax planning schemes. To these, proposals about tax harmonization and the elimination of tax competition have gotten hitched. Competition in financial services is bound to become more ruthless, no holds barred, to cope with the displacement effects of Brexit. Yet the sector is providing retail and institutional backup essential for the EU to remain competitive under globalization. Financial service providers have to be in top shape as leading participants in current progress towards banking and capital markets union. They need to regain legitimacy and respect in the face of massive political and media assaults. Do you not consider that we need some code of professional, corporate and personal conduct applying at EU level, covering the provision of financial services? Should it not be self-regulatory but would be overseen by an independent public institution, also operating at EU level to ensure transparency and fairness? Second point refers to the insurance sector. The Insurance Distribution Directive, IDD, is to be implemented at national level by 23 February 2018, including 4 delegated acts, specifying some key provisions with regard to product oversight and governance, conflicts of interest, inducements, and assessments of suitability and appropriateness of reporting. The delegated acts are binding for the Member States who must implement them by 23 February. Moreover, they are of significant importance for businesses. Since the Commission has not yet adopted these 4 delegated acts, it is unlikely that they will enter into force before October 2017. This leaves too little time for Member States to implement them by 23 February 2018. The Insurance Distribution Directive will bring widespread changes to the sector of mainly SME operators. Its implementation timeline is simply not realistic. It will not allow the proportionality principle to be taken into account. In a country like Malta, where I come from, most of the insurance intermediaries are small or micro entities. From them, the changes prospected will give rise to considerable burdens. Is the Commission aware of this very serious problem? Can it consider a postponement of the IDD implementation directive? Thank you.
Okay, that was a very packed question. Indeed, once again, there seem to be 2 questions. One was on financial services in the context of tax avoidance and tax evasion. Another was on IDDs. So let me start with the first question. There are a number of initiatives which we have been undertaking. You mentioned already some in field of taxation when we're implementing the OECD initiative to fight against base erosion and profit shifting, and indeed in a number of areas we are going beyond. That's what decided at OECD level and putting forward a more ambitious agenda at EU level. We are working, advancing our anti-money laundering rules. For example, the question of financial advisors are intermediaries are already subject to anti-money laundering rules under the 4th anti-money laundering directive. And we are planning further steps how to strengthen the responsibility of advisors and intermediaries for aggressive tax planning. So this proposal is actually coming forward very soon. So basically, there would be a legislative initiative to introduce a mandatory disclosure regime for aggressive tax planning schemes with a view of eliminating loopholes, and some other initiatives I would mention is, for example, our proposal on public country-by-country reporting and revision of anti-money laundering directive. So there is lots of work ongoing, and there's already existing corporate governance framework, which is also providing certain safeguards, and of course we can see how we can strengthen it further. Then coming to the second part of your question, as regards implementation of the Insurance Distribution Directive, delegated acts approved under IDD, of course, must be fully compatible with the directive as adopted by co-legislators and can only add implementation details but not modify the provisions. We are now in a process of preparing those delegated acts based on technical advice submitted by EIOPA, and preparations are well advanced, and we will adopt the delegated acts in coming weeks, and we are working closely with member states in order to accompany and facilitate the implementing process. So basically we are doing our utmost to have delegated act adopted as early as possible to give industry time to prepare. However, we think it would be a wrong signal to postpone the application of IDD. Two-year implementation period was decided by EU legislator and should be respected. Well, it's ambitious, but it's still realistic. We should deliver customers a new standards of protection within a reasonable time frame. And we are prepared to cooperate closely with European Parliament and Member States to facilitate the scrutiny process and help giving the stakeholders certainty as early as possible. Thank you.